This is Mongolian Mindset, and today we're gonna be typing Lady Gaga. You guys know we use Berens Interaction Styles and temperament combined with cognitive functions. We have a breakdown of all of these metrics online and the cognitive functions. All you have to do is search them. Go to a playlist, cognitive functions. We got a fucking one by one, and we got all in one. You can check those out. And if you want more hands-on experience with us, join our Discord. We do have our Demigod Dojo where we have everything listed out, all the sources you need to read to increase your knowledge, and take your understanding to the next level so that you can be more certain with typing people, guys. It's very important. PC, anything you want to say about Lady Gaga before we get into this? I don't know much about her, really. I just know she's famous, makes a lot of money. She
Yeah,
is, everybody talks about her. I don't really know too much
she's a
about her. I
singer. She's obviously well, she
think
did
she did
that
some acting
movie
too,
with
right? She
yeah,
acting?
yeah. I think yeah. It was obviously a singing role, but yeah, there was some acting involved. I think she does some kind of philanthropy and kind of like activism and things of that kind of nature and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, she does a bit of everything. So
Any thoughts before we get into what her type is gonna be?
um, damn, off the top of my head, I'm thinking maybe SFP.
Maybe SFP. Okay,
I'm
gotcha.
thinking, I don't know, just the way she puts her makeup on gives me Marilyn Manson vibes, but that's about it.
Marilyn Manson. That's interesting.
I mean, just
What?
just
Oh,
with
you're talking
the
about? Oh
makeup and the
God, that
haircut.
guy. Oh God,
Yeah,
I'm thinking about like the killer dude. Like I don't know
no,
why
no,
I was
no,
thinking
no,
about him.
Charles Manson, Marilyn Manson. Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know why my brain went to him. I'm like, I'm like, what? I'm like, oh,
I'm
that's
probably way off. I'm probably way off, but I'm just saying, just from the way she puts on her makeup, that's the only thing I've got to go by. So,
yeah, yeah.
uh,
I don't know. Well, we'll see. Um, I know. Let's see what personality database has her asked to have as an ISFP, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know we don't think highly of personality database. Sounds like PC might be cooked already because personality database
yeah,
always gets it wrong.
the,
The broke clock is only right twice a day. So, um, they got her as an ISFP with a good amount of votes, and secondly, they have her as INFJ, like with five less votes. So if they have five more votes, six more votes, she'd
so
be INFJ.
pretty much everyone thinks that she's an SCNI user, but they go off from there. So.
Yeah, it kind of goes off like, because you don't know if they're informative, direct, progression, outcome, pragmatic, affiliative. This it gets wonky because those two are on the both the streams of those. But they're both interest though. So interest. They think interest. So all right, guys. So they have her as an ISFP right here. That's the one at the bottom. So they are informing. They're responding. They are outcome focused. They're pragmatic. They're motive, and they're concrete. They're TEFI, but they got the FI leading, right? So left FI is gonna be leading. Um, and they also are SENI guys. So if she meets those metrics, we will type her ISFP. If she don't, we'll find her actual personality type, guys. So um, do 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 do. And we put an interview from 2008, so this gonna be fun. Wait,
Lady Gaga. Well, actually, I didn't really start in the dance scene. I started more in the like dive bar scene, which is really a lot of nerdy record collecting DJs. And I started go-go dancing and giving my records to the DJs in those bars. And then as I became more well known, it started to spread into the dance scene. And it's really it's sick. I mean, it's club kids. There's still like a real scene down there. People have personas. The nightclubs feel like a culture.
all right, so I'm picking up SC and I there. A lot of SC, a lot of SC. What
Yeah.
do you think, PC?
Yeah, man. Yeah. What was thirsty?
A lot of SC there. A lot of SCs. The dive bars are still there. Blah 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 blah.
Scene down there. People have personas. The nightclubs feel like a culture. the music is underground, but it's also mainstream. I mean, it's a really cool environment.
Really cool environment, SE.
It's SC, yeah.
SE environment, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, and I almost feel like those are two different questions. I feel like I have always been an artist, and that I became more of an artist once I started to play out all the time downtown. But it really wasn't until I got signed to Interscope and until I got a tiny bit famous in New York that I really became more of a dance scene artist and out in the clubs than before. So I would have to say, like, right around the time when I got signed, I almost got arrested in Chicago for wearing short shorts. I was in W Magazine, cover of Women's Wear Daily. So
I'm picking up TEFI. I'm picking up some TEFI. I was in this magazine, was famous, and that recognition, achievement, popularity, reputation.
clubs than before. So I would have to say, like, right around the time when I got signed, I almost got arrested in Chicago for wearing short shorts. I was in W Magazine, cover of Women's Wear Daily. So really when I started being myself, I mean, I've always been an artist, but when I started to be just who I really am, which is a
When I started being myself,
FI,
provocative,
very FI.
exhibitionist, somebody that does things for attention pretty shamelessly, that's
SC,
does things for attention, SE,
when I was like, okay, so just be who you are, and then that's your artistry.
FI.
getting lots of SCFI.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm a New York Italian.
So yeah,
My
FFP,
father
something
used to
around that
play
high.
Pink Floyd, Zeppelin, Beatles, Billy Joel, Elton John records all the time, and he used to.
TE,
We had a record player in the living room, and he used to like pick me up when I was a kid, and he would like twirl me around, and I mean, I had
It's like
T,
SE and
he did
I.
this, he did that.
Even in the mirror memories, we're going back to what the dad did, not what you did, or your subjective experiences at all. She's not recanting those at all. It's kind of like what somebody else did, so it's kind of more verifiable, is what I would say.
a really
Because if PC was in the room and he saw that, he could be like, yeah, I saw her do that, right? While like when somebody's talking about their internal um subjective experience, nobody can really verify those, right? If you say, "Oh man, I was freezing cold," like shit, I was hot, So that's just an example.
amazing childhood, a lot of culture, a lot of meatballs, a lot of marinara, you know. So music was a big part of my family. I mean, even like, listening to Andrea Bocelli over dinner, Frank Sinatra. Theater became a huge part of my life, a lot of because of that. I mean, I used to listen to the Sinatra duets like on repeat with my father all the time. And then my mother made me play piano when I was 4. It was kind of a discipline thing, and she used to say, "You don't have to practice, but you got to sit there for an hour every day. You can either play or you can just sit there." And probably for the first couple of years, it was like, I used to sit at the piano and like I'd start banging, and I was a really bad kid. And then I got bored just sitting there, so I started to play, and then I got really, really great at classical piano. So when I was 4, I started taking piano lessons, and I really hated it at first. I mean, I enjoyed playing, but I wanted to play by ear, mostly because it was faster for me. I could just like listen to something and just start playing it. Whereas reading music was more disciplined. I had to learn the notes. And so I hated practicing, but my mom used to say like, don't move. Like you sit there for an hour, you can either like practice your scales or you can do nothing. So I used to be, a real asshole and sit there and like start banging, or I would just like, do that. And eventually I got bored. So I just started to play, and I got really, really good. And I got really good very fast. And that's how I am. If I'm not very good at something right away, I don't want to do it. There I go with my finger.
Seems a little bit outcome there, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
If I don't get good at
Even
something
the way
very,
this
very
show's
fast.
going, Yeah, even the way that she was going about learning the instrument, she's like she didn't want to have to learn it the proper way. Um, she wanted to do it her own little fucking way. Yeah, so it's weird because with a process person, we'll sit there and we'll fucking try to learn every single fucking part just so that it carries across to something else. But a lot of the times you'll see with outcome people, uh, they will essentially just do the cheat sheet just enough to get them by.
Hmm.
They want to get straight to the outcome without actually doing all the hard yards. And then they'll find it later on down the fucking track when they've got to learn a second piece of like, oh shit, now I need to go back and learn this all from the beginning again because they didn't actually absorb any foundational stuff because they just wanted the bare minimum to get by.
Well, I would
But
say also make sure you don't mix your TI into that PC. Also make sure you don't mix your TI into what you just said, because TI wants to take things apart and then build it up.
mm,
So make sure you don't mix TI with the process, right? Could be a little bit different for TE people. So just be ahead of that. Just be aware of that because you got a little TI flair onto it.
Oh my God. What does that not mean to me? It's everything. It's who I am. It's culture, it's family, it's my heritage, it's my fashion sense. You know, I'm inspired by the street, but I'm also like obsessed with the gangster mob princess and the you know, in Scarface. And I mean that's not Italian, but you know what I'm saying. The casinos and the gaudiness, and it all really plays into the concept of my album, The Fame, because for me, Italians and that sort of gaudy culture is a way of self-proclaiming your own fame without, you know, $8 million.
Self-proclaiming your own fame. I'll tell you if either.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna go to, was it Juilliard or Manhattan School? I think it was Juilliard. I was really interested in going there for this like weekend pre-college program, and I actually got like really nervous before my audition and decided to go to acting school, which actually ended up being better because so much of what I do now is persona related, and Lady Gaga, me, it became who I am now, but it was like it was a self-discovery that really was found through acting and sense memory and figuring out, I mean, like things like, you know, certain positions and dance moves that I would do would resonate more with me than others. Like I suck at ballet, but I was excellent at jazz and theater. The artists that for me have been the most influential, I mean, like Madonna, David Bowie. I mean, of course I love them for their music.
Yes.
And not to sound vain or
I knew
shallow,
it.
but I'm almost more appreciative of their work because of their visuals. I mean, it completely changes the way that you listen to the music. I moved to the Lower East Side when I was, well, 18, I moved to East Village, and then Lower East Side when I was 19. And, you know, everybody dressed different, everybody talked different, everybody's swagger was different, and I'm somebody that likes to experiment with different things, so I bought a lot of leather and a lot of sequins, and I started making, I was go-go dancing for fun, so I started making my costumes because it was cheaper and also fun. And it's a really big influence on the music because I sing about the lifestyle. I'm not making underground music, I'm making pop records about an underground lifestyle. That's the difference. No, it's not. It was definitely the Lower East Side. There's like a little bit of a metal glam scene, and I started to sort of take, you know, elements from that I liked. The rock star's girlfriend. That was the real beginning of my fashion. It was not so much I want to be the greatest rock and roll band that ever lived. I wanted to be the greatest rock and roll band that ever lived, lead singer's girlfriend. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be the girl backstage at the Motley Crue concert in the feather dress doing Nikki Sixx's eyeliner. You know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of different. But I'm also obsessed with Versace, Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, Fendi, Valentino. I mean, like delicious fabrics and cuts and silhouettes and the way that you can change the way a woman's body looks, the voodoo. I mean, that stuff is my life. So it's, how do you make $5 look like $5,000? How do you feel like $5,000 when you've got $5 in your pocket? And I'm not like, I wasn't a poor kid, but I said, Daddy, I want to be a rock star. He said, go be a rock star, So I figured it out. And in downtown New York, and really in New York everywhere, really in the world, you have the ability to self-proclaim your own fame. You have the ability to experience and feel a certain amount of self-worth that comes from a very vain place. By simply like your choices, your opinions about fashion, your opinions about music, your opinions about politics, the way that you walk down the street, the way that you carry yourself at parties. I mean, you can literally choose to have fame. And that's what this whole album is about. And I really, honestly do not care a tiny bit what people think about it, because I'm not posturing that it's good or that it's bad. I'm struggling with the idea, and it's affected my life in the most positive way. I mean, if anyone said, who is Lady Gaga, I would be okay with, she is the most impressive con artist of fame. I mean, I literally trick people every day into believing that I'm somebody, and I'm not.
Ooh, orchestration there, huh? That's some SFP, NTJ type shit. Orchestration. Damn.
Should we mark some stuff off the board?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
I mean, look at Paris Hilton.
Let's go ahead and kill SENI and TEFI. I feel good about that. I am struggling from there. I don't think this woman's ENTJ. I don't think this woman's ENTJ. I don't. Um, but I mean, it's still alive. Yeah, yeah. So we got ENTJ, ESFP, INTJ, and ISFP. And I'm kind of in my head floating back between ISFP and INTJ. That's what I'm going through in my head here. Um, I would need to see more. But I don't think this woman's ENTJ, right? There's no commanding presence or anything that like, I just get shit done. Like, I'm not getting ENTJ, right? Um, you would see abundance of
He's
TE.
clearly Gamma Quadra.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but I mean in the Gamma Quadra is, ENTJ, ESFP, INTJ, ISFP. And I in my head I kind of eliminate at least one of them off the top of my head. Like, okay, this person's clearly not this type. Sometimes like if you go down to what ESFJ, INTP, ISFJ, and fucking what is it, ENTP, I can immediately be like, oh, this person's not an INTP. Like sometimes you can just eliminate one extra one just because you just know. All right, you just know. But
Right? She's like, I mean, I love her, and I'll tell you why I love her, because she is a rich girl who's done nothing, but everybody in the world knows this chick's name. How did she do it? She chose it. She took it. It's like, I mean, there's all of these socialites, the underground, but I'm using an example like that because it's something that everybody can relate to. They know who she is. For me, it was going out downtown and realizing that there was a social class, a small one. I mean, there was literally like the top tier of Rivington Street, and I'm like, who are these kids? Who the hell do they think they are? But that's exactly it. It's the nerve. All you gotta have is nerve. That's the one thing that keeps me up at night. I say to myself, who the hell am I to do what I do? Why do I deserve this? Who am I to do this? And then I remember that I'm talented. And then I remember that I'm actually very good at what I do. I'm extremely educated, but that's not something that I'm not like one to like be defensive about my work. It is what it is. You either love it or you don't. Most people like it.
Yeah, fine.
But yeah, I mean, it's about taking pop culture and taking the media
And
and
let's see.
using it in a positive way. Look at Perez Hilton, for example. You know,
Name
he
drop.
completely grabbed fame by the vocal cords and choked the world using fame, using people's obsession with the celebrity. I mean, why? Who really cares, right? Why do we care so much?
I'm about to try another interview.
Okay. Well, I started playing piano when I was 4, around, you know, about, I'd say 12. I was in a boutique in New York, and I was singing a Backstreet Boys record. I forgot, I think it was I Want It That Way. I think that was it. So I was singing this Backstreet Boys record, and the guy that worked in the store, Evan, I still remember his name, I haven't seen him in 800 years. He goes, "Are you a singer?" And I said, "No, you know," I was like, and I'm 12 years old, like, what am I doing in a boutique after school? It was just kind of one of those really random moments. And he said, "Well, you've got a really great voice. I think, you know, maybe you should call my uncle. My uncle, he teaches voice." His uncle was Don Lawrence. And anybody in the business who knows about music teachers knows that Don Lawrence is by far the best teacher in the world. So he had, you know, no room between Mick Jagger, Bono, Christina Aguilera, you know, you name it, he gave them a voice. Or at least, you know, he was, you know, working with them on their tour. So anyway, I started working with him. He was my mentor. He's still my mentor till today. He encouraged me to start writing music. So around 13, I started writing records, stuff on the piano in my house. So I moved from classical to pop. And I started noticing that, okay, well, the Bach chords are the same as the chords for this Mariah Carey record, right? So I just started like picking up on little things, you know, doing small chord progressions. Then I started doing coffee houses. You know, I put together a coffee house at my high school just because I wanted a place to play. I would sneak out and go to the bitter end. I would, you know, go downtown to McDougal Street with the seniors from Regis High School just to experience the, you know, music nightlife in New York. Then I was in a cover band when I was 16. I would do, you know, Zeppelin records, Jefferson Airplane, U2. And then I went to NYU for 1 year. Keep in mind, during all of this, I'm doing musicals, I'm in bands, I'm writing records, I mean, if you were my family, you did not see me for 5 years. I mean, I was out doing everything. And then I went to college for a year, and I hated it. Not the studying. I love, you know, I was a good student. I love to learn, but I wanted to work, and I wanted to make music. So I was in the Tisch program. I dropped out. I told my parents I'm leaving. I'm going to get an apartment and 8 jobs. And they were like, have a good time, kid. And they were really supportive, you know, and I really went for it. My dad gave me a year to get signed, and I did. So then I got dropped, then I got signed again. And in between the 2 record deals, I put together a variety show with me and a DJ, Lady Starlight. She was a go-go dancer. She got me into go-go dancing. I thought she looked so amazing on stage, so I just said I have to start. And
All right, I'm gonna try this.
it's really been a long journey. I don't remember not doing this.
I'm gonna pick another interview because that sounded a lot like Journey Focus there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Sounded a lot like Journey Focus there. Damn, I'm scared to click on this one. Fuck it. What we got?
A community that I could be a part of.
Because you did it together.
Yeah, and we supported each other in all of our creativity and our imaginations. And I mean, I used to write songs at the bar over here with a PBR and a shot.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you just literally come in here and start jotting down ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I actually really liked writing on napkins. I just thought it was kind of romantic.
Tell me you still got those.
I do. My mom kept them. But this place was really special to me because it was just a few blocks from the house and it was open during the day. And I would often write music during the day and I would work at night. So I spent a lot of time here and I made like lifelong friends.
Did you used to play?
I did used to play. I really sucked at ball.
I mean, I think you might have a go at that one and you might get
I
my
don't
thing.
know.
No, man.
I had with my gloves. See,
Oh,
this
that's
is
good.
exactly.
But it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Oh,
shit.
see, I'm so bad.
Yeah.
I was good at drinking and writing music, and I loved having drinks with friends. And yeah, we used to party, and we used to make music.
What a simple time.
It was an amazing time.
I'm excited to sit down and get into where you are today, though. This amazing album, Mayhem. I know fans are so excited about this record. I feel very privileged to be able to have a conversation with you and we can all share that with everybody.
Thank you. I mean, I'm not here anymore, but Mayhem definitely began here. You know, what I'm like really reminded of being in here is that like nothing was more powerful than living down here and finding myself and becoming Gaga.
Do you remember the moment when you became Lady Gaga? Like, it was like, okay, I see it.
I was working on some music and I was making all this like theatrical pop and some of which ended up on The Fame, my first studio album. And I just really wanted to change my name. It didn't feel like it matched the person that I was becoming. And I was in my apartment on Stanton Street and I just came up with it. I was listening a lot to Queen and I thought of the song Radio Gaga and then I thought, what if I put Lady in front of it? And, you know, that felt kind of like, it was sort of inspired by all like the club kids around here and also all of the art that I would see that we would all make to throw parties.
Sounds like an eye. Sounds like an eye, right? Synthesizing all that shit into one.
Listening a lot to Queen and I thought of the song Radio Gaga and then I thought, what if I put Lady in front of it?
What
and,
if
you know,
any
that felt kind
of
of like,
track?
it was sort of inspired by all like the club kids around here and also all of the art that I would see that we would all make to throw parties. Like, we had the coolest art to throw parties down here and seeing other people's personas like Lady Starlight, Darian Darling, Breedlove, Tommy London, Anna Copacabana, Justin Tranter and Semi-Precious Weapons, like, who's now like a huge songwriter. He's incredibly talented. We were like all down here and watching them, I was like, oh, I can be the artist of my own life. So they really inspired me. And, you know, it still does. I mean, you can't miss the vibe here.
No.
And it's not just any dive bar. And people that hung out down here when I was down here, I know that they would say the same thing, that there was like something special about this area. And you know, I bet there's like people down here now that like feel that way.
You know, you said recently something really great and reassuring for fans. You said, I love being Lady Gaga. Have there been times more recently, I would say within years, where that hasn't always been the case, where you had to rediscover that passion for the identity that you've built over the course of your music? And
yeah, it's definitely like can be complicated. I think that my earliest memories as Gaga were like so powerful because they were like formative and free. And then my career was such a blessing, but as it took off, I think the way that like other people related to me as like a superstar, like not that I didn't want to be one, but like almost something outside of the artistry.
I always think the objective,
make sense?
it does, because I always think when I talk to to artists like yourselves who have such a strong artistic identity.
PC, what are you thinking? I'm thinking creative subtype for sure.
Well, I figured that was always going to be the case.
I was
Um,
thinking creative subtype for sure. I think we do have a responding person. But I think it's really down to INTJ or ISFP. I think that's the one. Those are the two. So we need to be very sure about this. Very sure, PC. But what are you thinking so far?
I'm still there, but yeah, it's a bit weird because the ISFPs will show you a little bit of an abstract.
Mm-hmm.
So that is like one of those things where I'm kind of even not even going to use that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're just going to have to look for systematic or motive, which is probably going to be the best way to find it.
Yeah.
And come through the other side of that phase, that the general perception is that objectification, for lack of a better term, of one's star power
Yeah.
is a frog in a pot of boiling water, that you want it and then you realize, do I actually have ownership over that anymore?
Right. And like what people love about you can kind of be different for everyone, right? Maybe they love your music or they love your stage performances, or maybe it's your clothes, or and like the pressures of like combining my artistry with being a pop star was
Right.
like really interesting and sometimes hard, because people have opinions about how you should look and how you should like move through the world, and that's like not what this was about at all. Like this was like you were you, and what you, who you were, and what made you you was your superpower. It wasn't like telling each other what to do, or you know, you should do your art this way. No, it was like, it was us supporting each in what we did. And also it was about like, what records are you listening to? Like, what art books are you reading? What movies are you watching? Like what bands are you going to see? How often do you rehearse? Like, what's your relationship with your craft? And I think, you know, something I want my fans to know now, which is why I said I love being Lady Gaga, is I actually returned back to my artistry like recently in a huge way, making this album. Like I put so much of myself as a musician, as a producer, as a songwriter, in everything. And that is who Lady Gaga is, like, to me. Like, maybe to someone else, it might be, you know, the meat dress or, you know, something that I did that they remember as me. But for me, I always want to be remembered for being a real artist, and as someone that like cares so much about, you know, a life of art.
You may not realize this. Let me just remind you that you got the three-peat. Like, you have a hit now in your third decade.
Yeah.
And that is an incredible achievement. Abracadabra is, look, we got the message. I mean, these fan posts, like, look at how your fans interact with your music is absolutely amazing. You've probably seen this one, but
Yeah, I love him. I know.
and then real production, like real commitment.
Yep.
And then this one here makes me.
Being stagnant was just death in my artistry, and I just really wanted this kind of music for a long time, even though I had it in me. And I think Abracadabra is very much my sound, like something that I kind of honed in after many years, and I wanted to do it again. And I felt like being stagnant was just death in my artistry, and I just really wanted to constantly be a student and not just reinvent myself, but learn something new with every record. And, you know, that wasn't always what people wanted from me, but that's what I wanted from me. And it's the thing that I'm the most probably proud of if I look back on my career, is I like know how much I like grew from record.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I knew it. I knew it. I knew she's a fucking INTJ. Just needed her to say it. Just needed her to fucking say it. I knew it.
I felt like being stagnant was just death in my artistry, and I just really wanted to constantly be a student and not just reinvent myself.
Stagnant, constantly be a student, reinvent
On the
myself as
land on each
NI
iteration, that's growth. Yeah.
plus growth. That's like 4 progression things in like one sitting.
But learn something new with every record, and
Gotta learn something new with every record progression.
wasn't always what people wanted from me, but that's what I wanted from me. And it's the thing that I'm the most probably proud of if I look back on my career is I like know how much I like grew from record to record and how authentic it all was.
Grew from record to record because this woman's looping from NI to FI. This woman's looping NI FI. That's why it makes it really fucking hard to type people out here. Just ugh.
That the thing that was most important to me was being a student of music above everything else. But like I was able to be a student of music with this album, but in a new way where I was sort of asking myself hard questions like, you know, what really does define you, and like what is what is your personal mayhem? What do you struggle with? Like, what's the thing that you're always trying to live up to from your past?
Hard question. That's a hard question.
It is a hard question. And, what are your sounds? And what is what is the music of your soul? Like, how can you go back to your earliest memories with music and put that into this album?
With everything you've learned along the
with
way.
everything
through
you've
the
learned.
Chromaticas and the Joannes and the art pops. All the things that were important steps. I hear them all on this record.
Thank you.
It feels to me how, in a strange way, you get to revisit some of those artistic steps you took on an album like Art Pop and
God, I hate
apply a
this
little
guy.
more experience and a little more life into them and say, hey, look, I
fucking
can
hate
breathe
this
life
guy.
into that me again.
Yeah, I mean, Art Pop was a very special album to me. I was, just like on my previous records, handpicking the producers that I was gonna co-produce with. I was choosing like how to make the opera, and it was not really happening in mainstream music that one track would change that much. The groove would sometimes change. It would completely not be expected. It was very disruptive. It was not easy listening. It was basically like me going, I'll do what I want, and I'll do it. I'll do it my way. But what's so interesting is I always did that. It's just for some reason that record was like viewed as more defiant. I think because I was also fighting against some of the newer things in my life, like living up to my new image and wanting to break that. So, I like never dressed the same and my hair was always different. And, Art Pop was more of a concept and a philosophy more than it was an aesthetic.
But it was definitely a statement, and it's interesting. You become successful, and it's natural for anybody in business, even with the best of intentions or not, to want to templatize that, to want to say, hey, look, this is working. But it's not working for me.
Yeah, and then like it's like it also just depends on what your goals are as an artist. If for me my goal was always to be a student, so that meant I had to do things I hadn't done before.
Yeah.
Because if I was always treading old ground, I didn't feel like I was learning as much.
You wouldn't be here now like this. It would have run its
No,
course.
and it was so cool to like. Madion was like a kid, and
like
I
17 or 18.
Yeah, and I was like, what are we gonna do? And then we like made all this amazing music together, and Zed was just like popping off, and I was like, how are we gonna do this? And DJ White Shadow, and we were listening to like, Gesaffelstein, who I worked with on this record, and he knew that when I worked with him on Mayhem. I said, I've been trying to work with you for over 10 years, and he was like, here I am, and like it was. The music that you fall in love with, the art, and for me, that is so me. I'm not like a fleeting music fan where I just like for the album go, I'm gonna find new things only, and then I'm gonna let all of those things inspire me, but they'll be things I listen to for a month. No, like Mayhem was made off of inspiration of loving artists, music producers, and sound that I've been studying for like at least a decade. So it's like. That's all ruminating in me as a student, and And then, and to me, like abracadabra, even though it has my DNA in it, even though mayhem has my DNA in it, it also doesn't sound the way that the Fame Monster did or the way the Fame did. So it's like my way of thinking of music as being cross genre, being able to combine lots of different things at the same time. That is who I am as a
Combining lots of things at one time. It's in I. It's in I.
Fame Monster did or the way the Fame did. So it's like my way of thinking of music as being cross genre, being able to combine lots of different things at the same time. That is who I am as a musician, and I've always been that way. And that is what mayhem is all about. It's like the mayhem of like being a non-linear artist and with this album, embracing that about myself instead of being like, okay, I have to like fit it into this one thing.
You know, Abracadabra is such a smash as of recording right
All
now.
right, PC man, we're done, man. We're done, man. We're done. So that one, guys, was a lot more interesting. Lady Gaga did have us on our feet there. PC, what we got down there? Do we have Lady Gaga on the board? You got, oh,
Yeah.
her name's Steph. Oh shit, that's her name. Oh shit, I didn't even know her fucking name. Boy, I'm
It's
looking
actually
pale.
really fucking long. It's Stefani, Joanne,
Hey,
Angelina,
I look over
Germanotta.
there. I'm like, what the fuck he
It's
got on
it's
the board?
yeah, it's four names in one. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, like, what
That's
the
just
fuck he
yeah.
got on the goddamn board? I'm like, I see all this stuff. Arnold. I'm like, oh shit, is that the last person we typed? Like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
going on here? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, she's a double C, man. She's got to be C2, man. She made me want to pull out my fucking hair. So CC, creative. Yeah, I mean, with this woman, like you got, that's why I say some people like, we could jump in and get out real quick. And then some people you got to really, really listen to. And what we got there from the recollection is like, we got a lot of SENI, we got a lot of TEFI. So we know that we're messing with ENTJ, ESFP, INTJ, and ISFP there. And we knew we were dealing with an introvert, right? We knew we were going with an introvert. So what we really was looking at was process versus outcome. And at first we did get an outcome statement, so we did think we were gonna lead to ISFP, but I really didn't get much informing. Really, I mean, I didn't get like that much informing. I thought it was pretty clear what she was saying, but I wanted to make sure that we was gonna get processed. And it seems like she's talking about being a student to the game, right? And that's just a process way of talking. Like you're always a student. That means you're always learning. That means you're always gaining momentum. That means you've always got movement in your life. That means you're always avoiding stagnation, which is what she talked about there. We just had to go and find it. And that's the wonderful things there, ladies and gentlemen. PC, you want to drop anything you want to say there?
Not particularly.
Okay. So INTJs guys are direct. PC got to kill that off the board. Direct responding, process, uh, pragmatic. And you didn't see any interest either. Did you see any interest? I didn't see any interest.
No, no.
I didn't see no
And
fucking
again, I didn't
interest.
really see too much in the way of this structure either. But
I didn't
yeah,
see I didn't see no interest though, which is, ISFP usually gonna throw interest out there now.
yeah, yeah.
The
That's true.
SFPs really, because that FI plus pragmatic plus interest is disgusting interest. You put them three together, you got disgusting. I'm taking this, you ain't getting shit. Um, Anagram, bro, I don't even fucking know. Bro, I don't even know, bro.
Well,
Um,
could she be a four? Because she seems to be all about fucking that identity.
yeah, I mean, that's why I was leading. I'm going. I have to go with four there. I mean, it's got to be four, and it's got to be a three. I mean, it's got to be a 4-3. Um, I mean, people are gonna be like, "Oh my God!" What they gonna say? "Oh my God!" The what's the shit? What they always talk about? PC. Um, God damn, my brain going crazy. The correlations. The correlations,
Mm.
Mercer. Did you think about the correlations, Mercer? The correlation's gonna say she's ISFP. She's ISFP. I don't care. The correlator said it. I know it. It's like, bro, no one's really mapped out Enneagram with type. No one has. everyone who says this is fucking lying, okay? Um, I don't think anyone has a big enough sample size where they've actually typed people correctly to even be able to say that, you know. All they can tell you is what they should see on a fucking piece of paper. It's like a motherfucker who gets a super team. I should win, PC. I got a fucking super team. And then they fucking lose. On paper, you sound good, but in reality, you fucking losing. Okay, that's how I see it, and I've grown with it because you can ask anybody in my community. When I first got an Enneagram, I was very hard on the correlation, but as I've typed people and as people have challenged me in the community, I have loosened the fuck up. On Enneagram, I've loosened up, and I am listening. I know you fucking ENTPs out there, y'all been wanting to hear that. Arzare, fucking Henley, I'm listening, bitches. So fuck you. I gotta say she's sexual. She gotta be sexual slash SP. She gotta be sexual slash SP. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think she's SL. I think she's sexual slash. Yeah. No way she's social. I don't think she's. I don't think she cares about her place amongst the group. I think she's more like about that one-on-one intensity. So sexual, and then like maybe you know self preservation of that. Road to demigod. What you thinking, PC?
I'd say average, man. Like
Yeah,
I
I'll
didn't
go with
see much in
average.
the way of critic use or opposing. And I mean, let's be honest, she's getting a bit long in the tooth now, so that shit should be coming online. But I mean, it doesn't surprise me when I see female creative INTJs.
Yeah.
A lot of the times they can kind of come across as just like slightly more intelligent ISFPs
Yeah,
because they just
I think that is true.
yeah.
I think what you're saying is true. Um, that when they're creative INTJs, you don't really notice like how smart they are. But I think if you were to interact with them on a daily basis, you would notice that there's something exceptional about them, right? But when you're watching them talk and all this other stuff, like it doesn't seem like they're that exceptional. But I guarantee you, if you took the time to be around them and you watch their ethic, it's worth ethic and how they go about their work ethic and how they are and their sphere of interest, you would say, "Oh, this person's a fucking genius." So not everybody is an INTJ who's strong in science. Okay, and that's the thing that kind of like fucks up the space a lot because they believe that every INTJ should fucking be a quantum mechanic or some shit, or astrophysicist or something like that. And that's just not the case, guys. It's not the case. A lot of them go into different things. It's all about what they envision for themselves. Like, what's the world they want to envision? They picked up something through their NI as a child, and they were like, "I want to do this," or something like that, and that's what they're onto. She said she wanted to be a singer. She's a rock star, and that's what ended up happening. That's what happened when you commit your whole life to one vision, guys. So go ahead and put in average there, PC.
You know,
I think she's definitely looping the NI
yeah.
through FI quite a bit. So yeah, um,
Well, we did see a whole lot of SE being used,
a lot of
which is
SC.
pretty good for an interior.
Yeah.
So I mean, but then again, she does a lot of like dancing, and she's very much into aesthetics and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
yeah, I guess that would make sense, especially being creative. So
Yeah. I think she doesn't have to use like, super strong TE. So I think both of those are going to be a little bit more offline. The TE and TI going to be more offline. And I think the child and the trickster are going to be more online. Um, so that's what I got from her. Like I said, guys, I think that was an interesting one, and that's good that we kind of took you guys through the whole thing so you guys could see it. It's like not every time are we gonna be able to just like immediately jump in and just like type somebody. Sometimes you got to sit in there and you gotta make sure. We felt very clean, concise that she was TEFISENI. We felt so good about that, right? It's not about just trying to like bang 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 get out of there because if you miss one metric, you missed. That's all it takes. You miss
mhm.
one metric, you miss. So always go with what you feel the strongest about. The strongest about, and you eliminate those. Don't be like, oh, I don't know if she's abstract. I don't know if she's systematic. Take what you see and
Yeah,
then work
leave
from
it.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then work from there because you got a way better chance. Like just Not even following metrics. I knew the woman wasn't an ENTJ. So I mean that one's already gone. So I knew I had three types: the ESFP, INTJ, and ISFP. Um, and that's pretty much all I had to go from there, and then and it's coming off responding, direct, progression, okay, boom, INTJ, we're done. Um, but like we say, make sure you feel very comfortable with the metrics that you're seeing. If you don't feel comfortable with those metrics, don't just put it down, because if you put down the wrong thing, you get the wrong result immediately.
Exactly.
Let's say if I was typing PC and the first thing I said was well, PC's outcome, right? Boom. So now his real type is already gone. He's ISTP. His real type's already off the board because I didn't jump and put outcome, right? So that's why it's very important to like make sure you're very confident in what you're seeing. But that takes time, guys. That's gonna take time. But you guys got a shortcut by watching these videos. And if you want more hands-on experience with us and be a part of our great community, I think in the future we will be the number one MBTI community. Um, with a heavy influence on making you the best version of yourself. Because if you're the best version of yourself, you can have that relationship you want. You can make the money you want. You can make the impact you want. Whatever the fuck you want, it all starts with you, and that's what I think, and that's what I believe. So that's what we work on in our group. PC, any closing things before we head out?
No, that was pretty. Yeah, I didn't know she was an INTJ, so that was actually kind of cool to pick that up. So yeah,
Yeah, PC got ISFP, so he was with personality dummy base today. You guys make fun of him in the comments, but I'm just fucking around. Um, She's just like a weird. She looks like a weird motherfucker. So I mean, yeah,
actually, what's Angelina Jolie?
I don't fucking
Is
know.
she? I was gonna say, man, because
Huh?
her
Huh?
haircut and shit in that last interview was giving me fucking Angelina Jolie vibes.
Like I don't know what Angelina Jolie is. Like, but I don't even commit celebrities to fucking memory until people like type this person. I swear to God, I never would commit these people to memory because that's a waste of fucking memory. Like, what the fuck? Like, I would never do that. That is literally a waste of memory. But now you motherfuckers have burned these people into my head. Um, but I'll never remember her full name, Lady Gaga's real name. I don't know what the fuck it,
Yeah,
Jawagi,
no, no.
whatever. But all right, guys, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Me and PC are out.